Hola language amigos and welcome back. Bienvenidos to a new video. In today's class, we are going to be taking a deep recap about everything we learned through our whole course, through our whole studying program. And we're going to be seeing lots of different things, from remembering how do we say different courtesy expressions. We're going to be taking a recap about future, about present, about past, about adjectives, about articles, all of that and much more in today's class. So starting up, we got the expresiones de cortesía. Those are the courtesy expressions, very important in Spanish and super useful. So we got, to get to know the name of someone, we got ¿Cómo te llamas? Like, what's your name? To get to know his origin, we would ask ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? And then we got perdón or disculpa, that's excuse me or I'm sorry. Then we got de nada or a la orden, that's just you're welcome. And of course, when you're greeting someone, you would say mucho gusto, that's nice to meet you. Then we got the different types of adjectives in Espanol. And we gotta remember that adjectives must share the same gender as the noun they're modifying. So for feminine adjectives, we got adjectives that end with A, and for masculine ones, we got the ones that end with O. But also, we got adjectives that end with E. Those are gender neutral, like interesante or amable, interesting or kind. So, in this case, if we have to describe Javier Bardem, podemos decir, él es simpático, él es delgado, él es interesante. We have also learned about the affective verbs, los verbos afectivos. These are the verbs that are affecting another person or just ourselves. So these are like gustar, like, interesar, interest, or molestar, bother, or upsets. So if I say, a mí me molesta, I'm saying, I'm bothered by whatever, right? If a mí me molesta el tráfico, I'm bothered by traffic. A ti te encanta, you love libros. A ti te encantan los libros, because when we pluralize, we just add an N at the end of the affective verbs. And for él or ella, we would use le. So, for example, if I want to say she's interested in reggaeton, I can say, a ella le interesa el reggaeton. So how about you? ¿Qué te gusta? ¿Qué te interesa? ¿Qué no te gusta? For me, it's very clear. Me gusta mucho dar clases de español. So moving on, we also have learned about articles, artículos, and these ones were divided in two types, right? Definite and indefinite articles. It's important to learn about articles, really, that they have always to share the same number and gender as the noun they are modifying. So we got the definite articles. Those are el, los, la, las. You can think them as like the in English, and you also have the indefinite articles, that un, unos, una, unas. Those you can think it in English as e. So if I say un avión, I'm saying a plane. But if I say el avión, I'm saying the plane. Then we've also learned about ir a. This is the go-to. This is the near future in Spanish. When we are talking about things that are close to us in the future with a strong link to the present, we use voy a. And the important thing to remember about near future is that we only really conjugate the verb ir. We conjugate only ir, and then the verb that we are going to use, we just leave it in infinitive. So if I want to say I'm going to eat pizza, I'm just gonna say yo voy a comer pizza. And in that example, comer stays in infinitive while the verb ir, it's conjugated. That's why I say voy. Then we also learned about present simple, presente simple. And this is a very big tense, very important in Spanish. We gotta remember that we use present simple when we are talking about like physical descriptions, for example. So I can say, yo soy argentino, I'm Argentinian. That's present simple. But also we use present simple for things like regular things in the present, like for example habits or routines. So yo me despierto en mi casa y yo voy a correr a la plaza y luego me baño y me voy al trabajo. So that's an example of a morning routine. And here we got the different table of conjugation for regular verbs in present simple. Of course, we got some irregular ones. And really, in the first person is really simple because all of them end with o. So yo trabajo, yo como, etc. And the ones with tu, they end with different endings. So depending on the ending of the verb in infinitive, they can end with as, es, or is, like tú comes or tú trabajas. And then for the third person, so él, ellas, they can end with a or e, like él trabaja, él o ella come. We've also learned about reflexive verbs. Those are the verbs whose action is reflected on someone. Like waking up, you would say, me despierto, I wake up. Or me baño, I take a shower. It's very useful, reflexive verbs, when we are talking in present simple, because we would use that very commonly for things like routine. So, me despierto a las 8 de la mañana, me levanto a las 8:30, me baño a las 9 de la noche realmente y me acuesto a las 11 de la noche. For example, as a daily routine with these questions. And how about you? ¿Cuándo te bañas? When do you take a shower? Or ¿cuándo te acuestas? When do you go to bed? But of course, in Espanol, we got another very important type of present. That's the presente continuo or present continuous. And this is really easy. You can think this in English as the verbs with ing. So those who end with ing, those are the present continuous. It's for actions that happen continuously in the present, that they happen at the moment, at the same time that we are speaking. So if I say, yo estoy cantando, I'm saying, I'm singing. Very important here to remember that we always use the verb estar with the correct conjugation, and then we add the verb that we are going to say with the gerund. That ending in ando or yendo, those ing, that's what we call a gerund or gerundio. So, as you're reading all of this, I can say to you, tú estás leyendo esto. Then, of course, we learn very important travel vocabulary. We learn that vuelo de ida y vuelta, it's a round trip, that pasajero is passenger, and that equipaje, it's luggage, and reserva, it's reservation. And of course, none of that is useful without our pasaporte. That's our passport. And last but not least, we got the verb solía or soler. This is a very simple way of saying, this is a very simple way of talking in the past in Spanish, and is the verb used to. So you're talking about things that you used to do, and for that we use solía. And really the important thing here to keep in mind is that we are going to only conjugate the verb soler, because then the next verb that we're going to use is in infinitive, similar to go to. So in my example, I said solía jugar, that jugar is an infinitive, and I'm going to ask you, ¿qué actividades solías disfrutar en vacaciones cuando eras niño? So when you were a child, what activities you used to enjoy during vacation. And in this example, we have de niño, as a kid, yo solía ver los picapiedras con mis hermanos. So can we see how we got solía conjugated, and then we got ver, that's the verb to see, in infinitive. And that's really the key thing to remember about soler. Okay, and that's all for today, amigos. But let's keep unlocking the Spanish in you. I hope you really enjoy this whole course with us. And this may be the end, but for you, maybe a new beginning in this beautiful language. Don't forget to click below for some homework. Y nos vemos en la próxima lección. Adiós.